So, welcome back. This is Matt and Tyler from Until We Agree. This is Matt.
What?
From Until We Agree. And that I'm joined as always by always
Okay.
Tyler from Until We Agree.
Hey, buddy.
I'm just doing my impression of you.
Okay. Shoot.
And so, I guess let's just get right into it because I feel like we've been real nice the last couple weeks.
Yeah, it was disgusting. Well,
because I was sick.
One
and
week
you were real nice to me.
You didn't show up, I will say.
Well, I was sick.
And I would hope the undertones of that episode were fury from my side because I was.
Okay, well, regardless of how you were feeling, I was feeling worse.
It's just that we record from home and you could just open your laptop and start.
And what I would say is I was doing a lot more of opening the toilet.
Bro, here's the thing. I actually met Reese Witherspoon this week and I would love to talk about it on the podcast. So can we just hit it really quick?
Yeah, but
okay, hit
you're
it.
skipping the part that I wanted to talk about because
well,
you won't let me in your wedding band.
Well, hit it, Hutch.
You know what it is now, boys and girls of the podcast world. Matt and Tyler on the mics. They're gonna stay here until they agree. They're gonna stay here until they agree. Oh, thank you for listening. This show's called Until We Agree. Oh, thank you for listening.
All right, we're back, I guess. You make the edits. I think we're back.
Yeah, we're back. Don't worry. Yeah. We've been doing this for almost a year. I think you should know that
after
after a hutch, we come back.
Yeah, and we're back. So
yes, I know.
First and foremost,
I edited the big gap that you left, and then I'm putting us back in seamlessly, so no one realizes how slow.
The
you
big
just
gap
moved
that
there.
I left, I put the gap in to make editing easier for you.
Bro, the gap can be 0.2 of a second. I can just extend it if I need to.
I doubt you have the splicing ability to take care of that.
Bro, you don't. The thing is, you don't even know what I do on a weekly basis, so that makes sense actually.
You splice audio clips together, and you sync two mono audio files, and you'd think you deserve just all this praise, which I will give you some because you're doing a great job of editing. But
so
let's not act like it's no. I some, not all, because let's not pretend that it's brain surgery. All right.
And I never claimed it was. I will claim. I don't know.
You have nothing to claim.
I'm working hard.
Now back to what I was asking you.
Yeah.
I want to be in the wedding band. I asked if I could try out, and you just dismissed it with a joke.
You interpreted it as a joke. You could also interpret it as, yes, if you do good enough when you show up for the wedding in a few weeks, that you can just be in the band. If Justin Bieber showed up to my wedding and asked to be in the band, and I said, "Are you sure you're Justin Bieber?" and he hits me with those classic JB riffs, I'm putting him in the band.
What's a classic JB riff doing right now?
Whoa, something like that.
Oh, that's
yeah, exactly. You know what? So if
it's like Baby, but not really.
Yeah, like a little bit, because that's what he has in his back pocket. And so if he has that in his back pocket, I want that to come out at my wedding. If you have something in your back pocket that, frankly, I haven't seen before, and I've known you for...
I have a gun.
I've known you. Okay.
Get on the ground.
Dude, that's prime improv, baby. Welcome back to Until We Agree with Matt and Tyler. This is Tyler and Matt from Until We Agree. I'm Tyler. So, here we go. You can be in the wedding. Can I talk about meeting Reese Witherspoon finally? This is a bigger...
Almost, because...
Okay, this is a bigger deal.
Real quick.
If you're...
Yeah, but Groundhog Day.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Groundhog Day.
They said 6 more weeks of winter, and I disagree. So.
Bro, here's the thing about it, and this is something that I don't think we're ready to have a conversation for. Me and you maybe, but not the world. Winter ends in 6 weeks no matter what. That's what's so frustrating about it, is whether we want winter to finish early or not, it's not going to. It always ends around March 20th.
I also feel like Punxsutawney Phil is very biased based on where he lives. He's in Pennsylvania. Of course it's going to be cold there.
That's true. And did you see that he bit the mayor of Punxsutawney yesterday?
Probably had it coming.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's getting sick and tired of this game. I think we should stop giving Phil so much credit. I don't think he wants it, truly.
Yeah,
speaking of editing the podcast, by the way, did you listen to what you sounded like last week? And you want to tell me? And let me tell you right now. Let me tell you right. That was not just
minor malfunction.
That was not just splicing.
Knob.
That was not just splice. Oh, that's that what it was? It sounded like you were talking through a Pringles can. So, I don't want to just hear that I just splice. I splice and etc. Frankly, so sorry. Go back with Phil.
That's not how you use etc. But no, yeah, Punxsutawney Phil. I mean, I don't know much about the guy. I'll say that, but what I do know is you can't just come out of your hole once a year. Like we're here 52 times a year, right? Given our input and our thoughts, and he comes out of a hole once every 52 weeks and just makes claims on the weather. And I just don't understand how we've been as a society like sitting around thinking that that's okay when, let's be honest, he has an unearned audience. We're earning our audience every week, and he just sits there, and he has fans that wear like merch. Which, I mean, we have merch, but we'll get into that later. I just don't. So I think we should start rivaling him and kind of calling the weather, ourselves.
Okay. What's the weather looking like this week? That's a good idea. Go ahead.
It depends on where you are. That's all I'll say.
Dude,
I'm an honest weatherman.
And here's the thing.
So what?
That's closer to accurate than Phil has ever been, ever. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Because when people in the southern hemisphere,
dude,
can't even relate to. Let me push on the hemispheres for a second.
Can I talk about meeting Reese Witherspoon finally? We're
You
bearing.
didn't meet Reese
Yes,
Witherspoon.
I did. We're bearing.
You have scarred me from the Morgan Wallen story.
No,
the time you just made up a story about meeting Morgan Wallen.
First of all, I didn't meet Morgan Wallen on the street, and I truly have met Morgan Wallen, and you know I have. I don't know.
Have.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you have, but
so maybe
then
I
just randomly started saying you met him on the street one time. It just didn't make sense.
No, but maybe I can meet celebrities sometimes because I live, frankly, in a celebrity dense area. And I think this is possible.
Let me hear the story.
So, I didn't technically meet her.
Okay.
But what I will say is, like 6 months ago.
Wait, 6 months or 6 months?
6 months ago.
Because 6 monks is crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
That's not a period of time.
That's
just 6 human beings.
You've discarded 6 monks.
Yeah.
So now we're on to this next one.
Right.
All right.
So 6 months ago.
Okay.
Brittany, my fiance, for those of you who don't know, went to lunch at a restaurant in Nashville and sat right next to Reese Witherspoon, like rubbing shoulders. Like it was one of those, you know how Nashville is, how every restaurant, and we'll get into this later too, because I have a new theory on these gimmick restaurants, but we'll talk about that in a second. This is me meeting Reese Witherspoon. So they were like. It was very small. It's like a big open room, very, very tight tables together. And Reese Witherspoon was there. And what ended up happening was nothing. But I said if I was there, things would have gone a little bit differently. And so yesterday, which was on Sunday, for lunch, we went to the same restaurant. This was my first time going back to this restaurant since she could have had a chance to meet Reese Witherspoon. And I thought, first of all, I had so I thought about my opening line just in case I happened to come across Reese Witherspoon as well this week. And I wanted to share with you what it was going to be. I was going to walk up to her because I will say this.
Would you like me to be Reese in this situation?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Let's do it.
So I'm supposed to talk to you first.
Yeah. As Reese Witherspoon,
okay.
known Reese Witherspoon, in fact, loves talking to strangers when out to lunch with her family. Okay.
So I'm mid-bite probably, but I see you walking up and I just say, oh, hi.
Oh, hi. How's it going?
Good. I'm just eating with my family. How are you?
I'm good. What's your name again? I'm just kidding, Reese Witherspoon. Big fan. Nice to meet you. So I was actually watching a movie that you just released this week with Will Ferrell, and I just want to say that we really loved it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I've heard. I haven't seen it personally. I've heard great things about Legally Blonde as well.
This is not good.
No, I'm not done yet. Keep going.
Oh.
Sorry.
Thank you. That was 25 years ago. Thank you.
Known fact, Reese Witherspoon is a very kind person. She would not have said this is not good. So you broke character there.
Okay. I'm back in. I said okay. Thank you. That was 25 years ago, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. Of course. I noticed we're at a brunch restaurant, and your name doesn't really make sense for a brunch restaurant because everything's kind of like handheld.
This is not good. No.
So if anything, should your name be
without her spoon? Yeah, we know that we've heard this.
Reese
before.
with her hands, at the very least. Okay. Reese with her fork, because I don't think a spoon would be very practical here.
Yeah, somebody call security.
And scene. What I noticed you pushed back a little bit there in the middle. What was that makes sense because you don't do improv at all, ever. So this is
I'm so immersed in the character. I think I was being generous, if anything. because
no, you would not be as generous as Reese.
If you said anything like that. By the way, did you even see Reese Witherspoon there?
No, I saw her movie that she released with Will Ferrell this week, though, and I.
So you didn't even see her when you guys went back to this.
Well,
place.
no, I just want no, of course not, because
you were just being prepared.
I wanted to, because I wanted to shoot a shot.
So in the beginning, when you said you met Reese Witherspoon, by that you meant 6 months ago when your fiance met Reese Witherspoon,
but didn't meet her. She didn't talk.
You
to her.
remembered that.
I remembered that.
Yeah, you remember that and wanted to be prepared in case she. Statistically, this would mean she hangs out there like 100% of the time.
Well, it was a similar time of day from last time.
Yeah, at that time, she's there 100% of the time if she was there. Yeah, now we know it's 50-50.
It's a 50-50 shot that you're going to run into Reese at this restaurant. I don't even want to shout it out because I got to keep going back because we got to get her on the podcast. I think, essentially, I wanted to have this line prepared just in case. And I will say, Brittany really fumbled the bag because also at lunch with Reese Witherspoon that day 6 months ago, let me put you on to Laura Dern really quick.
I know Laura Dern. Yeah.
And ever heard of Jurassic Park? Yeah. And you know who walked up to their table in the middle of lunch?
A waiter?
I would assume, I wasn't there, so I don't know, but I would assume yes. But also, the guy who plays, I forgot his name, Ward in Outer Banks.
Ward in Outer Banks. Oh yeah, okay.
How about that? And so I was preparing lines for all of them, but the Reese Witherspoon one really felt good because of the fact that we were eating, and her last name is so aligned to eating.
No, and I feel like she's heard that maybe 100 times.
I'm not sure I understand your point.
Oh, okay. So you're fine with that, okay?
Yeah, even now I still feel good with what I would have said. So we're gonna keep going back every single day for the foreseeable future. And just hope we can run into Reese and can't get her on the pod. At the very least, if I can't get a TikTok with her doing one of the fun filters we use.
Yeah, I think she'd really enjoy. I think what was the last one we put up? Ranking Marvel characters by how likely or how good of kissers they would be.
Yeah, something like that. So I think she would love to do that as well. Oh, you did good. Is that what you did for your ranking?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Is that not what you did?
No, I didn't. I did.
Oh. Yeah, me neither.
That's crazy. Okay.
Well, this is different.
That's actually a really good segue. Can I segue into my next topic of conversation?
Yes, please. Because I see it on the agenda and I'm curious.
Yeah. Do you want to say what it is?
Skunk.
Yeah, skunk. Are you familiar with skunks?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I've seen them. Been around them.
You smell like it for sure. What is what's your first thought when it comes to skunks?
Like why? Mostly.
Okay.
Usually driving. Usually they're dead on the road, and I drive past them and I smell them and I say, "Oh, and that's not good."
That's a
lot. Well, may I finish my thought?
I guess.
A lot of my memories with skunks are we had a gate in our backyard, and so we'd let our dog out, and she would run out there, and sometimes there'd be skunks out there because they venture in yards from time to time. And so a lot of my memories of skunks are checking to see if there was a skunk outside before letting the dog out, because we had to once give her multiple baths because she got sprayed by a skunk.
Okay.
So making sure there's no skunks outside. Have you heard of Pepe Le Pew? Let me put you on to Pepe Le Pew for a second.
No, I haven't, but it sounds like you actually it feels like you have a lot of knowledge about skunks. And I wanted to give you one more fun fact about skunks.
Okay. I'm down to learn.
You always are, and it shows. So it's fun that you mentioned that you see them dead on the side of the road a lot. And I want to call out to you that skunks are dead on the side of the road the most in the year at the very end of January into early February. Do you want to know why?
Can I guess?
Yeah, please do.
They're very sad because Valentine's Day is coming up and they haven't found that certain someone.
What's actually crazy is you said that obviously you're joking, because I don't think Valentine's Day and skunks, they don't associate with each other very much, because I don't think they have the intelligence to know what Valentine's Day is. But in a way they do. So skunks hibernate. So at the very least, you don't see skunks dead on the side of the road most of the winter, but you see the most skunks out of any other time in the year at the very end of January, early February, because they wake up halfway through hibernation, because that's when they reproduce. And so they wake up groggy and other emotions, and they just get a little reckless, because they're trying to find a mate really, really quickly, and they're not in a great headspace, so that They're aggressive and sleepy.
That's interesting. Where'd you learn this?
I took a class in high school that the guy told us that you'll see more dead skunks at this time of year. And I will say, I drove past 3 today alone on different parts of town, and they're all fresh too. You could smell it.
Okay, so that's what made you want to talk about it then, if you've known this for such a long time.
You texted me Groundhog's Day as I was driving past a dead skunk.
You know it's not Groundhog's Day, right? You know it's Groundhog Day, not Groundhog's Day.
It's actually news to me, actually. So no, I did not know that.
Because I noticed that in the agenda you said Groundhog's Day as if it were his day, but it's just Groundhog Day.
How is it not his day though?
I mean, I guess it is his day, but we don't call it his day, you know?
No, I actually didn't know that. And look, now we've both learned something new. And may I add that I think you're stinky and ugly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say on skunks. Do you want to
Sounds
talk
good.
about anything?
Yeah, you just put gimmick restaurant in, and I assume we're going back to Reese Witherspoon being at this restaurant that you think is a gimmick.
No.
Which I'm glad, because I actually noticed, and I wasn't going to say anything about it because you love Nashville. Nashville has the most gimmick restaurants of any city I've ever seen.
You're right. And that's why I wanted to talk about it. This restaurant that me and Reese went to yesterday together was not technically like a gimmick restaurant in the sense that like what I'm trying to talk about now. There's this one restaurant that I'll call them out. I don't care. They're not going to sponsor us, I don't think. But it's in Nashville, and it's called Funky Griddle. The first word of funky is actually a P. I think I suggested this place to you at one point, like 5 years ago. And I think you and your girlfriend went there while you were visiting me.
It's the one where you cook your own food.
It's the one where you cook your own food.
Yeah,
and I
remember this.
I was thinking about it, and I haven't been there in years. I drove past it yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was like,
right.
Why is it that this place charges more money than any other restaurant I've ever been to just for the experience of cooking your own food? Part of going to a restaurant is that you don't have to cook your own food. And it was starting to frustrate me a little bit because there's no reason.
May I answer that question for you?
Yes, please do.
They're selling an experience.
They are, but the experience is just cooking, and that's frankly not an experience that like you would want to pay money for.
But there's a lot of that out there. Like I just went and tried hot pot for the first time the other day.
Okay.
And that's the same thing. They just put a hot pot of soup in front of you and then you cook meat in it.
Yeah, but why do we want that?
I don't know.
And it's always more expensive. Like, it's always more expensive.
It's very expensive. The only good thing with hot pot is it was unlimited, like, portions, I think. Or no, maybe that's not true. I don't know. But,
I think you're thinking of Golden Corral, the buffet, which is different.
Oh, Golden Corral buffet, which is more of an experience, even, I think. Getting up, walking to the buffet, and picking every food you want, and then being able to do that over and over again.
Yeah.
Is more fulfilling to me than cooking my own food poorly.
And the thing is it's actually cheaper too. So you're actually getting unlimited food for less money, and you don't have to cook it. And I get experience-based restaurants. That's fine. That's cool. But think about like hibachi. That's an experience-based restaurant where you're getting something else besides just the food. So yeah, you pay a premium for that because they're cooking food in front of you and they're throwing little rice balls at you. That's sick. That is so cool.
And choo-choo trains out of onions.
Choo-choo trains out of onions. That. Yeah, exactly. There's so much that offers. Think about like Dave & Buster's. Now that's a gimmick restaurant. You want to order food whenever you want and then go play games. That's great. I can imagine putting a restaurant in the middle of a trampoline park would be fun too. There needs to be an experience worth
feels like going just a vomit fest waiting to happen.
Well, so is cooking your own food. You should know. You've had food poisoning in the last few weeks.
I didn't cook that food. Some nice, I won't say the pizza brand name, employees behind 2-inch plexiglass cooked that for us.
Right. So that's a gimmick restaurant that I don't think you would support, is eating food and then also getting poisoned. That's not a good gimmick. I don't think enough restaurants do gimmicks well enough to support being a gimmick restaurant. But what's weird is that it still works. That's what's so frustrating about it, is like people go to the gimmick restaurants, but like why? And the reason I told you to go to the Funky Griddle like 5 years ago was because I was but a boy, you know? Like I didn't know any better than to say, "Oh, this is so cool. You can make your own food." But
see, what on you.
But I know, but what I thought about is it's not even like good food. Like there's something
because you make it.
You
it's
make
even
it
worse.
You make it, and it's just like kind of like average.
And I'm always scared of undercooking things, so then I just overcook all my own food.
Right? They're not giving you a meat thermometer to do the stuff.
No meat thermometers, no recipes even. They just kind of dump ingredients on you and give you a hot skillet, and they say, "All right, cook, and now give us $50."
That's what they do, and they still expect a tip. I've been like you had to go to the restaurant, to the cashier at the end of all this. It's a sit down restaurant, but obviously the waiters aren't going to come take your money because they don't do anything, because they don't need to do anything, and then you had to go pay money at the restaurant, which is fine. I am not opposed to going to a restaurant and paying the bill. I'm truly not. But why am I tipping when all they did was
known dine and dasher?
Well, exactly, and I've gotten away with it many times, and I will again.
Aren't all our kitchens just gimmick restaurants?
Yes, but there's
deep. But I thought you were gonna go somewhere else. Okay, hold on. Go ahead. Finish your thing.
I forgot what I was gonna say, so please go ahead.
I thought you were gonna go somewhere else with this because in Nashville, any B-list country music star you can think of has their own restaurant, and that's what I thought you were gonna talk about. Like Florida Georgia Line does not need their own restaurant, but they have it.
Not anymore. They're gone.
That got closed down?
It's the Barstool Bar now, I think.
Because the Barstool Bar.
Florida Georgia Line. Yeah,
because they need their own restaurant. Yeah,
they broke up. No longer in a relationship.
Oh, I didn't know they couldn't run a business together, or their team couldn't run that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Blake Shelton's got his whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now Barstool has that. So
I think you're missing the point that those places are cool as heck, though.
Miranda Lambert's got her thing.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I'm sure you know more.
My personal favorite is Nudies, but that no one owns that one, so I don't really go to the rest of them.
Somebody owns that.
I would argue someone does, but I don't think a name that I would be familiar with does.
Okay.
But we'll be going there in a few weeks, me and you.
Oh, we're going to Nudies with DJ Nick at Night?
Well, dude, you're going to hate this. DJ Nick at Night.
What happened?
He is now the resident DJ at Morgan Wallen's bar.
See, Morgan Wallen has his own bar.
Breaking my heart, though. My best.
And breaking chairs, bar stools. Morgan Wallen's probably broken every item in that bar.
Hearts too.
Hearts.
Yeah, I like those. I guess those are fun. Everyone says.
You like those?
Yeah, everyone's like Broadway's awful, and I would argue, perhaps not. Open your mind a little bit.
But it like for sure is though.
Bro, have you ever even been? I've
been to Broadway. I haven't been with you. I've been like before a concert at Bridgestone. You know, you eat on Broadway, and you see a bunch of people with cowboy hats and cowboy boots that they do not typically wear,
and hope and joy in their eyes and heart.
You could say that, or you could assume it's just the copious amounts of alcohol in their system.
Bro, it's the
redacted
place on earth, and I don't like that you're talking bad about my city.
That's trademarked, and that you should not be saying that because that's a place maybe 1,500 miles away.
Oh, you're right. It's the happiest place on the planet.
Okay,
yeah,
we can get away with that.
Good luck suing us now, Walt. Yeah. But yeah, no, I those are okay. Those aren't gimmicks. Those are just a great time.
They're gimmicks though.
Yeah, you say
like so. They're nothing but a
good time.
A corporate, like it feels like a corporate restaurant.
A corporate good
time. But because it's like personalized to a person that you may be a fan of, it feels special. That's my problem with those places.
I think something that the Nashville audience and the WBWs of the crowd might say is that they're really not restaurants at all. They're just party houses, party places, and people like to party.
They don't, People do like to party.
Let me put you on to having fun. I know you don't like to do it often, but I think if you just let your head down a little bit, I think you would enjoy it.
Hey, Rat Pack Editor Matt here. Tyler spent about 3 minutes talking about his bad haircut again, and I'm not going to put you through that. But just know he was setting up the joke that you're about to hear right now. See you, Rat Pack.
Yeah, I've been dreading it, you could say.
I think, why would you dread it? It feels like you should just get it done at this point. He won't.
No.
The new guy won't know. Just go to someone new.
No. I've been dreading it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Speaking of dreading it, are you going to speak of it?
Oh, you want me to do that? Yeah, you know how conversation works. No. Yeah, but you're the one with the story.
Yeah, but because you know what happened, so why don't you lead me into it?
we both took. Have fun slicing this together. We both took. Okay. I'm gonna speak really like out of rhythm and see if you can make it sound normal.
No, please don't. Please don't. Please don't.
Okay,
please don't.
Fine. All right, we both took in high school a Civil War class by the person who also coached our basketball team. Now, this individual.
Would you argue that you were radicalized by this class a little bit?
Probably because, and we'll explain why. Because one, the teacher / basketball coach that was teaching this class had a reputation of just like being a mean coach. Mm-hmm. And as a teacher, we came to learn that he likes to go and act in these reenactments of the Civil War.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that's interesting, right?
Yes.
That's interesting, right? Now, what side would he reenact, Matt?
He's just a history buff. He's just
what side? Well, what side did he tend to favor in the reenactments? What time did he?
I would argue that 100% of the time he was on the Confederate side.
Right, the southernmost side. Which is interesting. That's that's what floats his boat.
The side that supported the upholding of slavery. That was the side. That was the side he chose every single time.
Every single time. Which somebody has to be them if you're going to reenact. Because at the end of the reenactment, I would guess most of the time the Union's going to come out on top because that's the way it went. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, but we don't know where he truly stands. So I guess we can't throw out any accusations. That being said, I think we can both recall him saying this at one point that he did let us know that the Civil War was not about black or white. It was about green. And if that's not racist, I'm not sure what it is. But.
And what was the green? Where was this green? And we're talking about money here. We're talking about money. Where was the green coming from? What green were they fighting?
Well, slaves were generating profits, I believe.
They were generating lots of money.
He refused to see it that way. I don't know if any of us were bold enough to call him out on that, being that we were, 15?
And here's my what I knew about the class going into it. Nothing. I saw a class. I thought, and the class is called Americans at War. I thought that would just be it wasn't even because it wasn't like a history class. It was an elective. I just thought it was going to be like a fun little class where we talk about different wars because that was right. I was kind of interested in history. I was definitely more interested in history now or then than I was now because back then I may have had a podcast about history that would have been really valuable for the listener, but not anymore. But yeah, I signed up for this class because I needed to take a class. I didn't know who taught it or anything. I blindly picked it, and I showed up on the first day, and he was like, "This is a class fully about the Civil War," because he loved the Civil War, and he got to teach a class on the Civil War. And I will say, it was a very, very fun class.
Yeah, and one good thing did come out of that class. I think we both would agree on what that is.
Yeah. Should we say it on 3?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
North and South, starring Patrick
Swayze.
Yeah.
And that really attractive lady.
I don't remember the attractive lady. I just remember we actually found the other star, James Reed, who played the guy from the North. And we found him on Twitter, and he tweeted at us thanking us for our support of the show.
Wow.
I know.
That's cool.
Yeah, not very famous. We couldn't find Patrick Swayze because unfortunately he had passed away at that point. And I don't know.
Okay.
He was kind of at a higher level of fame than James Reed ever got to. So I don't know if he would have taken the time to thank us for watching him be a Confederate soldier for a whole semester.
Yeah, probably not. But anyways, the point we were trying to get to with this is, that was the most fun part of the class, watching North and South for, days upon days.
He took us across state lines, by the way.
We did go to
I don't know if people talk about that enough. I don't know if that was legal, frankly. He took us to Georgia. We did go to Georgia. It was the border, to be fair. It was the border. State lines are state lines, though. And I don't know if you can just I don't even know if we filled out a very in-depth form for that. I feel like there should have been a better form filled out for what we had to do that day. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
I don't know if there was any form. But speaking of legalities, we reenacted ourselves a court case of a fellow named Dred Scott. And I think you remember the details better than I do because you had a more substantial role in your version of the role play than I did.
Yes.
And I would love to hear it from your. Yeah.
So And I didn't do any research beforehand because I find it more fun when we don't actually research this stuff and just kind of go off of a loose memory. So Dred Scott was a Supreme Court case. I think it was Dred Scott versus like the state of Missouri or something.
I'll fact check you.
Yeah. Just as I go along, if you hear something funny, just call me out on it because I haven't done any research on this case since we did this thing for this class. So Dred Scott was a slave, whose ose took him.
Dred Scott versus Sanford, by the way.
Dred Scott, like I said, Sanford, and so the slave owner took Dred Scott, the slave, to a northern state, to a free state, and essentially, when he came back, and they lived there for, I think, like, not lived there, but they were there for like a really long time, like at least a year, and then they came back down to whatever state they were in. It was obviously a slave state, and Dred Scott was like, wait a minute, I lived in a free state for long enough to become a free person, and so I should be free. And essentially, that was the case. And I want to make it clear, we didn't get to pick our roles.
No, yeah.
they were
forced upon us.
They were forced upon us, and they were assigned to us. That being said, right. I was... and we had to reenact this whole case with like a jury of our peers in the class as well.
Yep.
And we had to play our parts, and my part was the lead lawyer in trying to convict Dred Scott of wrongdoing for because I think Dred Scott just left his owner or something, was like, I don't have to be here anymore, I could just leave. And so, but then they caught him, and then they were like, you had to go back to being a slave, and he was like, no, I don't. And so it got all the way to the Supreme Court, and I was the lawyer who was trying to make Dred Scott a slave again. Right. The lead lawyer, of course. Make that very clear.
By the way,
yes,
I was a lawyer too on the other side. I wasn't the lead lawyer in my case, but I was the lawyer on the side of freeing Dred Scott.
Yes.
So my conscience is clear.
History will remember that you were on the right side of it.
Right.
And we also let's make it clear, we did not take this class together. I don't think we specified that yet. We were not going against each other.
We were in separate versions of this class, probably separate semesters. But all I'll say, because mine was pretty boring, the way it played out, because I think I got up and I asked just a question, and the girl on the other side, who was a witness, I guess, just lied because she didn't know the answer. And so as a high school student, I didn't know how to perjure somebody, so I just kind of left it be. I just said, okay, well, I don't know what to do anymore, so I just sat down. And I'll let you get into your story because it's much more entertaining. It's like an episode of Suits.
Yeah. And what he did, what the teacher did, which I thought was kind of cool, he only gave, we all had different information, packets of information. We didn't actually know, and he was like, don't do any research on this case. So we didn't actually know who ended up winning the case. He wanted it to be played out and see what we thought should happen to Dred Scott, and then he would tell us what actually happened. So I knew, I had very specific information that was given to only me, and the witnesses had very specific information that was given to only them, and the jury had no information. They were only receiving what the lawyers and the witnesses were giving them. So that's the background. Let me just say, I cooked. Okay. Looking back, am I proud that I cooked? No, of course not. That being said, I am a little bit proud of how hard I cooked in this. So I was tearing the defense apart. Let me make that clear. I came prepared. I had notes prepared. I had a speech written. My closing arguments was all written out, and it was pages of notes. I was ripping, but it all kind of hinged, my whole argument, and I kind of had a feeling it was going to work. My whole argument was, it was a constitutional question, obviously. This is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is arguing whether the Constitution supports Dred Scott or not. And so what I did was I was like, we have to tear apart the Constitution. You know how I am. And there was one witness whose role was assigned to us as expert on the Constitution. There's only one of them, and he was the guy who had all the answers on the Constitution. And so, which I think this actually makes me more of a hero in the story than maybe the listeners thinking.
Please don't say the word hero.
Well, you just wait and let the audience wait and hear. I I personally thought that Dred Scott should be a free man, because in my heart of hearts, I would never support slavery, of course. And frankly, what do I know about the Constitution? But what I do know about the Constitution is this random little 15 or 16-year-old kid also didn't know anything about the Constitution. So I call him up onto the stand and I say, you are the expert on the Constitution. Is that correct? And he goes, yes, I am. And I go, oh, really? What's the 12th Amendment? And he freezes. He doesn't know. So I have destroyed the only witness that could support the Constitution. And so now the Constitution's out the window and I'm cooking. I'm absolutely cooking. And I say, no one knows the Constitution here except for me. They didn't have to know that. But I said, I know the Constitution well enough to know that Dred Scott should not be a free man. Now that I'm saying that out loud.
Yeah, can you say it again? Can you believe that you said?
Don't clip that. Don't clip that. I don't support what I did. But in the secret walls of the classroom, no one had a chance of beating me, and I took Dred Scott and I gave him back to okay, never mind. So yeah, we don't know who ended up winning in that case, of course. But I did a pretty good job, I think. As
you don't know who won?
Well, in the classroom, I don't want to say who won. I don't want to say which side won the classroom argument, because I don't care. Even if I did win, obviously I wouldn't care, because why would I even try that hard anyways? So,
I'm pretty sure we voted to free him in the class.
Yeah, your guys' lawyers must not have been very good, because ours did not vote to free.
That's disgusting. I think our class just had the idea that, hey, it's 20 whatever. It's too late for all that. Your class was maybe stuck in the past, you'd say, living in the past even?
I would argue there was just a really good lawyer on one of the sides.
Lawyer on one of the sides, sure.
Who absolutely ripped apart the defender of the Constitution.
So because a random high school student didn't know the 12th Amendment, you all thought, yeah, slavery, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And I am looking at, did you know he was eventually freed?
Right, he lost the case, I'm pretty sure, but that's great. He
lost the case, but he was freed in May of 1857. How nice is that?
That is nice. You can quote me on that.
And he died in September of 1858.
Oh,
so
this guy
had a year and a few months.
Yeah, I'm sure things
because of you.
I'm sure things were really good for him in that year.
Yeah, he did. He had $300 at one point. To try and buy his way out. But the widow of who owned him denied, which I find interesting.
Yeah, looking back, I'm anti whoever had him. So, anyways, what do we want? Do we want?
Anyways.
Do we want to keep going, or do you want to get to Q&A? We have Yu-Gi-Oh.
Let's just get to Q&A.
You don't want to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh?
I have a great Yu-Gi-Oh story, or a fun Yu-Gi-Oh story. It's pretty short, but we'll keep it for next week.
Sounds like we're just going to wait and see on that one.
Keep the people hanging. It's about the time I entered a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, so we'll go on that next week.
Sounds so cool. You're going to sound really cool after that. Can I just get one more audio clip in on this whole Dred Scott thing? Clip this.
I think we really don't need that from a branding perspective.
I do not support slavery. And I'm glad it was abolished.
And when was it abolished? If you're so against it, when was it abolished? Do you know?
After the Gettysburg Address and the Emancipation Proclamation. I believe
it was around what time?
I believe it was abolished, because everyone's going to say, Matt, obviously it was in 1865 because that's when the Civil War ended. I believe it was abolished in 1863 or 4.
Is that true?
Yeah, the Emancipation Proclamation came out in the middle of the war. Learn something. You don't know anything about history.
It's 1863, January 1st.
There you go.
That's crazy. I learned something today. You're a history buff.
You already learned about the skunks. Close your brain off. Don't learn anything new.
Oh yeah, that's right. One a day.
That's you don't want to open your brain too much.
I'm gonna spit that information out because.
Hey Rat Pack, we have a rare editor Matt speaking on behalf of Tyler moment here. Tyler wants you to know that he had a great time learning today and has no other thoughts on it. Whatever may have been here no longer is, and it'll never see the light of day. So thanks for listening and thanks for learning.
Yeah, and sometimes part of let me put down to comedy for a second. Part of comedy is saying ridiculous things and then it just sounds crazy and people like that sort of thing.
The thing about my jokes is I always mean them. So let's get into Q&A.
That's not good.
Let's get into Q&A.
Yeah, please. I think we've lingered on this case for too long.
Yeah, and speaking of Q&A, and speaking of Until We Agree with Matt and Tyler, please follow us. Please follow us here wherever you're listening. You can. I know you can follow on any of these. Please follow us on Spotify, Instagram, TikTok. We're at Until We Agree at all those places. It's an orange logo, and then you'll see our cute little faces whenever you click on our profile. Doing something. We're doing something different on every account. So follow us. Leave us a question anywhere, and we'll find it. Except for apparently Ronnie, who said his question this week was, "Did you guys forget my question?" Angry face.
Classic angry face.
I really didn't think we had any Ronnie questions missing. But I think I found one on Instagram that I don't think I realized was a Q&A question. It was just a question about our merch. You can't buy it. You can't buy the merch.
Yeah, Ronnie asked where we can buy the merch. It's a sample size of 2 on that merch. Because there's 2 hosts of the podcast, and we get those. Maybe we could make some merch to sell at a very high price, because
very, very high.
Our margins are pretty slim.
It would
not
be worth it at all. At the current number of people, I can think of maybe 1.5 people who would want to buy our Until We Agree hoodies at this point.
Who are you counting as a half person?
Oh.
Because I'd love to hear that.
I'm just talking about like betting odds, like. Over under 1.5 people would buy our sweatshirt drop at this point, I think.
Yeah, I think I would put it at 2.5, but I agree that doesn't really change much from a numbers perspective.
Mm-hmm. And it would be a big undertaking. If you want to make your own bootleg merch, feel free to. And seriously, like, as long as you're not making money off of it, if you just want to wear it around for fun, feel free to do that. But yeah, as of right now, the merch is really just for us to take pictures of when we're together in Miami, and then that's pretty much all we use it for.
And just general comfort. They're comfortable.
They are comfortable. So yeah, I mean, maybe one day you can get in on this, Ronnie. Ronnie was supposed to be on this week too, but I think what happened is we forgot to ask him. So. And
we're recording a little earlier than normal.
Sure.
So. That's on me. Well, we're going to get Ronnie on. Gimmick wants to come back on. He's got some questions
Finally,
for you.
It's about
We've got
time.
some guests to come back on.
I've been waiting for
it's
Gimmick.
It's just a little tough to organize people coming on live.
Yeah,
but we're going to do it. We're going to get that dialed.
Yeah, I think if we just break down like the responsibilities for each of us on this podcast, you show up and record on sometime during the week. And then sometimes we ask you to get a guest lined up. And then about 25% of the time when we ask you to do that, you successfully do it. And then everything else, I do the podcast as well. I do the editing of the podcast. I post the podcast, and then I post the social media clips. I post way more TikToks than you.
Okay.
So yeah, it seems like we're pretty even in the amount of work we do. So I understand why I get why it's really hard for you to arrange one guest a month. I can see that being difficult. So you're doing great, seriously.
Just schedules, you know.
Yeah, year ends are coming up because we're almost at our 1 year anniversary of the show. And I'm sure our CEO will love to do our performance review for you.
Well, our CEO loves me more than you, so
there's an argument for that for sure. But yeah, so Ronnie, keep an eye out. Maybe we'll drop some merch here soon. It just feels like a tax burden for us to sell one hoodie and then have to file that up to the IRS. So we're a little hesitant at this point. A lot of work for a little payoff for us. Kim also asked a question. Kim's very loyal in asking questions. She actually forgot to ask a question this week, and we called her out for it, as we should, because she once sold us out to Big Flower. So I think it's the least we can do is call her out when she's in the wrong. And she responded on Spotify comments by saying, "Oh, that's my B. B is slang for bad, by the way. We're just saving time there. But don't worry, we so back." Enter. So you press enter twice. I can tell just by the way this question was typed out, because there's a gap in lines. So she then asks, if you had to swap lives with your co-host for a week, what would be the hardest part?
Okay, real quick, because we're running along, so we need to speed through the joke answers that we were already thinking. Like,
okay,
I'm so slow, I'm so dumb. Like, I'm short.
Reaching the top shelf.
yeah, right. Yeah. So, everybody knew those were coming. Yeah. It's no surprise to either one of us. I'm glad that we got through that. Now let's give the real answers.
I think lacking general intelligence was one.
No, okay, so that's one of the ones that I feel like we've already covered.
I mean that with so much vitriol, you have no idea.
Okay, well, I actually thought about this because I was like, okay, if we swapped, not slopped.
Okay.
if we swapped lives for real, and I'm assuming we swap back, right? Because it's a week. I would imagine the hardest part would be after we swap back, having to tell you that Crohn's disease is not that hard to deal with.
Oh, doubling down is crazy, and that felt like a joke answer as well, because I think you're feeling the pressure.
I would never joke about Crohn's disease.
Oh, you wouldn't. You said that having food poisoning once is just as bad as having Crohn's disease forever.
Yeah, because there's no medicine for food poisoning.
Bro, what's crazy is I almost made fun of my wrists, but then I remember that your wrists are the exact same size despite not having Crohn's disease. So
they're not the same size. My wrists are substantially larger.
Do you not remember when we measured live
What's
on
the
air?
circumference? What's your circumference of your wrist?
I don't remember what it was. We did this like months ago.
Mine's a little bit bigger, I think.
I don't know if that's true, but...
And I've been really working out my wrists, so...
How do you do that?
Climbing.
Bro, you've been climbing for years now. Nothing's changed.
Not even a year.
This is gaslighting. I know for a fact me and him went climbing like way over a year ago, and he just lied to you. So think about that.
Still, nothing has changed in the month since we did that last. Anyways, yeah, I'm happy to stick with my answer for you. Reaching shelves and
Can I say a real answer?
Yeah, please.
I don't know how I would cope with having such small feet.
You do. It's hard to keep your balance for sure.
Because what, you're size 8.5?
4.5.
A child's 4.
It's getting bigger. I was at a 4 to start the year. I'm hitting
like
a growth
as tall
spurt.
as you are.
Thank you.
Almost 6 foot.
No, 6 foot.
No, almost 6 foot.
So actually,
I would imagine with such small feet, it would like throw off how you balance. I just don't understand how that works.
Well, I don't do great staying.
So little surface area on the bottom of your feet, it feels like a problem.
Yeah, and I have weird arches, I think, and so I walk on the side of my feet at all times. I think
any adult shoe is like a clown shoe for you, right?
Yeah. Every time I put on shoes, I honk my nose.
Yeah, I kind of do that, but with socks because they're inside out too.
This show's called Until We Agree. Oh, thank you for listening.
All right, anything else you want to add post credit?
Probably something about Matt Damon. We bought a zoo. We bought a zoo. Interstellar 2. Not 2 as in the second one, but also because there's no Interstellar 2.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think we're done.